I just finished writing my introduction, and I've looked through my sources. Um, this part's sticking out to me. I want to write more about the modern feminist movements first. Not necessarily that's going to be the first body paragraph, but I have enough information in my brain that I feel like I can get that out now. One tip that I have about writing is I know a lot of people feel like they need to go in chronological order. So, like, they need to write their paper from start to finish, which isn't always the case. Sometimes it's easier to kind of write in spurts, like where you feel like your brain has enough energy to write. So, whatever you're ready to write about, write about. So, I'm going to talk about these modern um, feminist movements. So, I'm going to go back to my source. I've already scrolled down to where it talks about the fourth wave. So I'm going to show you how to summarize slash paraphrase and how I can use direct quotes and not plagiarize, because that's going to be something that I'm looking for this with this essay, is making sure that you know how to put things in your own words and give credit to the people that you are borrowing ideas from. So let's look at this paragraph together. So this paragraph says the fourth wave of feminism began to emerge in the late 2000s and early 2010s. It developed as a result of modern feminists' increasing use of the internet and online activism. Adopting various elements of the preceding waves, the fourth wave of feminism was driven primarily by the ability the internet gives feminists to call out misogyny and sexism and directly challenge it where it exists. Critics argued that growing use of the internet alone was not sufficient to delineate a new wave. For that reason, there was, for a time, no consensus on whether a fourth wave of feminism had truly begun. However, the recent rise of the movements such as Me Too and Time's Up and the 2017 Women's March on Washington have brought renewed focus on feminist concerns around sexual abuse and harassment. So, okay, I'm going to not look at my source for a second, because what Mrs. Fish said in the library is sometimes when you're looking right at your source, you're more tempted to copy word for word. So I'm going to try my best to kind of come up with my own spin on what I just read. So let's see. I know you guys are watching me, so it's like hard to come up with ideas. Let's see. There is debate surrounding if people can claim there is a fourth wave of feminism. I do need to look back for some more inspiration. Some people argue that because we some people argue that the rise in the use of the internet and social media does not equate to a fourth wave of feminism. However, the use of the internet has given women a unique tool to combat online harassment and to bring to light misogynistic ideas. Like I said in my last video, I'm like just pulling this out of my brain. I've not done nearly enough research on this topic. I'm just trying to give an example. So if this is not like the best it could be, I know. Obviously, you guys have put in a lot more work than me on a Sunday afternoon trying to come up with an example for y'all. Let's see. There's debate surrounding if people can claim there is a fourth wave of feminism. Some people argue that the rise in the use of the internet and social media does not equate to a fourth wave of feminism. However, the use of the internet has given women a unique tool to combat online harassment and to bring to light misogynistic ideas. Okay, let's say I want to use some more specifics of this. I'm interested in maybe this part here as a quote. Let's see. With the rise of the internet and social media, women people have been able to more clearly see examples of sexism and share their own stories regarding abuse and harassment with others. So now I like this quote. The recent rise of movements such as Me Too and Time's Up and the 2017 Women's March on Washington have brought renewed focus on feminist concerns around sexual abuse and harassment. So I'm going to copy this. I like this. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. Before I do anything else, I want to make sure that I'm including this in a way that makes it known that this is not my words. I'm not claiming these words as my own. And so I'm going to kind of doctor this up a little bit. So I'm going to say the internet has helped facilitate current feminist movements such as Me Too and Time's Up. Additionally, the 2017 Women's March on Washington has raised awareness of women's struggles with harassment and sexual abuse. Okay, so yes, I did use that quote, and I did change it quite a bit. If I go back and I look, actually, I can just paste it again. So However, the recent rise of movements such as Me Too and Time's Up and the 2017 Women's March on Washington have brought renewed focus on feminist concerns around sexual abuse and harassment. I changed that to the internet has helped facilitate current feminist movements such as Me Too and Time's Up. Additionally, the 2017 Women's March on Washington has raised awareness of women's struggles and harassment and sexual abuse. So you can see that there's some essence remaining of this article, as there should be. Like, I should be able to see that you got your research from somewhere. How I'm going to credit this author, you can do a couple of ways. So let's say, so all of this I got from one source. If you have one paragraph that is all from one source, what I could do is I could start this paragraph with something as simple as according to, and this, so if I look at my citation, there's not an author for this source. Yours would probably be at the top. If you have an author, you can just use that author's name. So according to so-and-so, and then let's say there was an author here, it would be according to, there is a debate surrounding if people can claim there's a fourth wave of feminism. So if there's not an author, then what you would do is you just use the title. So according to the article, Feminism, there is debate surrounding if people can claim there's a fourth wave of feminism. So here, I can assume that everything in this paragraph is from that source, feminism. If I didn't want to do that, there's also a way that I can, at the very end, some of you have probably heard of in-text citations. So let's say you did have an author. If you had an author, the author's last name would go here in parentheses. Boom, in-text citation. Because there's not an author, I'm going to put the title in parentheses. A good rule of thumb is that if you're looking at your works cited citation, so remember this stuff that says source citation, whatever is first goes in parentheses. So if it's the title goes in the parentheses. If it's the author's name, the author's last name goes in parentheses. So whatever is first, that's how you know what the in-text citation is. So you can either use, this is called a signal phrase. You can use a signal phrase saying, hey, I got all of this information from this article. And that suffices of saying, yes, I acknowledge that this is not all my own ideas. Or you can say, you can put in a little text citation at the end and say, in parentheses, what source you got it from. Either of those are fine. Let's say I wanted to use a direct quote. Actually, I'm going to use another source so that I can show you how to use an in-text citation with an author. So here we have an author. Her name is Leah L. Strobel. So let's say I want to use, oh gosh, I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good quote. Okay, I'm going to, just for the sake of this, um, I'm going to use a different quote. Let's say I'm working on another paragraph now, because this is how writing works. Sometimes you have an idea for one paragraph and sometimes you have another idea for another paragraph. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to leave this paragraph, but I like this quote and I want to talk about some of the arguments of feminism, or some of the okay, so this is a direct quote, word for word. I'm going to put it somewhere in the next paragraph. Some prominent topics for Euro-American feminists, such as body image, may seem frivolous to women who are struggling for the very survival of their people. So there's a quote that I want to use. Maybe I'm going to write, white feminists get pushback sometimes from women of color for different religions, socioeconomic statuses, or so maybe I'm going to talk about some of the critiques of white feminism. White feminists get pushback sometimes from women of color, different religions, or lower socioeconomic statuses. Some prominent topics for Euro-American feminists, such as body image, may seem frivolous to women who are struggling for the very survival of their people. So this is, again, I can say, according to Strobel, I can put in my little tag here, or I could just say, for example, and then here's my quote, and then at the very end, I put her last name, Strobel. Because if I look at the citation here, you see that that is the thing that is first, Strobel. So this is just me brainstorming some of my body paragraphs and showing you how to do in-text citations. I hope that this is helpful, and if you have any questions, please ask. I really just want to see the attempt at crediting your authors. So whether it's just saying according to blah, 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 or just adding the in-text citation, that's all I really need, is just to make sure that you kind of somehow flag that you're using a different source. So if you have any questions, just ask, and I'm always willing to help. So hope that was helpful.